everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Jenny and I am a nature preschool teacher and a nature play consultant. I have been getting so many questions lately on what to say when you're outside with your child and things are kind of going weird and wonky and you resort back to maybe using words that you wouldn't choose to use or want to use, and people have been asking me what to say instead of those words. So I thought I would make a video about this, and I thought I would make a series out of it because there's so many questions that come through and there's so many different things that we do outside with kids. So in today's video, we're going to be talking a little bit about turn taking and words we can use instead of you need to share in order to help support children in building turn taking skills that are going to help support them as they get older and confident in talking to their peers. Sharing is a tricky concept for early learners to understand, and it can oftentimes lead to children feeling angry that they have to share something, that they have to give something that they are currently using to someone else. And it can lead to also anxiety feelings where they don't want to ever share and they're just like hoarding all of their things. And I don't want that to be the case in my classroom, and I'm sure you don't want that to be the case in your classroom or your home. So let's talk about things that we can do and what sharing can look like instead. So the first thing that I want to let you know is that early learners are still involved a lot of the times. Toddlers, preschool age children are still doing parallel play. So what parallel play means is that a child is using their own stuff, they're doing their own work by themselves, they have their own tools, and sometimes another child is nearby. They might be talking to each other about what they are doing, but they're not playing together. So this idea of having to share a tool with somebody else is like, why? Like, I am working on my work, I am very focused. It can be really challenging for children that are still in parallel play. Where cooperative play is when children are working as a team, as working together to reach a common goal. It might be in the mud kitchen when they're scooping and making pies with each other. It might be playing fairies in the fairy village. It might look like in different ways for your class and your children, but the understanding is that cooperative play is when children are working together. And this is when we see a lot of this concept of sharing when children are playing cooperatively with one another, because a lot of things are being said and a lot of thoughts are being shared during cooperative play. And this can make adults really nervous when we're seeing children fight about a tool. So you want to step in and say, you have to share. You have to give that to somebody else. But what I want to share with you is that we don't have to actually do that. I want to offer you this idea of turn taking instead of having to tell children that they have to share and us have the control over sharing ideas. And it's a common thing to say. We might find ourselves saying, you have to share. Sharing is caring. You're done with that. It's their turn. You've been using it so long and now it's somebody else's turn to use it. And I get it. We want to make sure that other children get the opportunity to use something that they want to use, but we also want to honor that child that is so focused on their work, because that is learning right there and we don't want to stop that flow of learning. So instead of saying you have to give it to somebody, we can offer, when you're done, let them know. We can also offer, can you work together? If it's something that is a tool that both of them want to use, and ask them if they can work together on it. A lot of children that are going to be involved in parallel play aren't going to know what to do when it comes to sharing. And sharing won't be an easy topic for them to understand, so we want to honor that as well. Our community is really based on how we want to support children in our care and how we want our community to treat each other. So if turn taking is a big piece of that, then we have to communicate that at group circle and with the children, and we have to model it for them as well. So if you find yourself taking things out of children's hands or taking things out of your co-teacher's hands or your partner's hands, then children are going to be picking up that subtle detail that they see you doing. And they're going to say, hey, I can do that. I can take things out of people's hands because I see this person doing it all the time. And that's just what we do in our class or in our home. So if you find yourself doing that, then you can really stop that urge. And it's hard. It's so hard. I find myself doing it all the time. If a child has something I want to turn with, I feel that urge to take it out of their hands and be like, oh, I need a turn. Or if they're doing something unexpected with a tool, I feel the urge to take things out of their hands as well. But it's always about that communication skill that we want to build and how we let children know that we're going to take something out. So if somebody is using something unexpectedly, we can say something like, I'm noticing you're choosing to use that tool in a way that's not expected in our classroom. Can you show me how to use that tool, or do you need to be done with it today? Instead of just taking it out of their hands. If they are choosing to like hit somebody with a tool, we have to stop that behavior, don't we? So we come in and we say, I'm going to stop you from hitting that friend. That is not safe, and that is not how we use this tool. You're showing me that you're done with this tool. You can choose to give me the tool, or I can choose to help you give it to me. But you are not going to be able to hit somebody with that tool. That is not safe. So that's the first thing that I just want to cover, is that we want to really model how we are using communication skills to help support turn taking in our classroom and in our homes. The second thing that we really want to focus on is when children are working things out, sometimes it can get really loud. And sometimes if they are fighting over a tool, it can get really loud, right? And that can cause us to feel out of control and want to step in straight away. But what we have to do is really stop, observe, and wait. And that, again, is a tricky thing for me to do all the time, because I want to help children and I don't want any bad things to happen. So I have to wait and I have to observe, because 9 times out of 10, children can talk about it and they can work it out and they can figure out how to share the tool. If tears start, if hitting starts, that's when I know that I can start stepping in. Or if the child that got the tool taken away from them just shuts down and goes and gets another tool, that's something for me to think about, that's not something that they should be having to deal with. Like, nobody in our class should be getting tools taken out of their hands. And I need to help work with that child in learning how to use their words to get their needs met. If they're not done with something, they shouldn't have a tool taken out of their hand. So I step in. And before I just jump in and say, I'm going to solve this problem for you, I ask. It's really important whenever we're even thinking about talking to other caregivers, parents, friends, before we step into a disagreement, we always ask if it's okay if we have a conversation. Is it okay if I help you out? Do you need help? And we want to do the same with children. So when I see a child, let's say in the mud kitchen, arguing over a tool, and a tool gets taken out of their hand and the child is upset and is angry, I'm going to step in, and they're not able to communicate what they need. They just start crying or whatever. I'm going to step over to them and I'm going to ask them, do you need help working this out? And then the child can say yes or no. And they're going to say yes. So then I sit down, and the biggest thing that I have to do is stay calm. Oh my God, is that hard? We want to it gets a lot of energy out of us. At least for me, I feel a lot of child energy. And when children are upset about something, I start feeling upset about it. So I have to breathe and really stay calm so I can help support them in finding the words that they really need to say to each other when it comes to turn taking. So I sit down calmly, take my breath, and I might say, would you like to tell me what's happening, or would you like me to say what I saw happening? Some of the older kids will just talk to each other and turn take that way, while other children will ask me I really don't know what's happening and I'm really upset about this. And they're able to say this person took this out of my hands and I didn't like that. So then I will come in and I will say, can you tell that child you didn't like that? So it might sound like this. Ari, can you say to Oscar you didn't like when they took that out of your hand? How did it make you feel? Always picking up on that language about feelings. It made you feel angry that Oscar took that out of your hand. Can you say, I did not like that, Oscar. I was using that tool. And then Oscar can say, well, I really wanted that tool. I want to use it. And you've been using it for a long time. And I need to turn with it. And then Ari can then speak up about what they felt. Well, I wasn't done with the tool and you took it right out of my hand and it made me feel mad. I am not done with that tool. And then Oscar will say something like, well, I thought you were, or, well, you had it for a long time. And so this might go on and on, where it's like this back and forth. And sometimes I allow that to happen because they're really communicating and sharing their thoughts. And sometimes it ends in half laughter, and sometimes it ends with a solution that I don't have to help step in to give. But I'm there as a person to mediate if I need to. If it gets to the point that I need to give them words, then I will say, Ari, I noticed you were still using that tool. Can you say, Oscar, I am not done with this tool. When I'm done, I'll let you know. And then Oscar will give the tool back to Ari because Ari wasn't finished with it. And then Oscar can say, when you're done, let me know. So Oscar might be left feeling frustrated that Ari got the tool back and that they don't have their turn and that they have to wait their turn. And that is a great tool for Oscar to learn. Oscar is going to be learning how to really regulate their emotions and feel those emotions inside of themselves, and also find ways that they can work through that emotion and work through to self-regulate their bodies. And most of the time, Ari will have that tool for maybe 5 or 10 more minutes. Mostly, like if she's a younger kid, she's probably going to have it for only 2 minutes, and then she'll give it to Oscar and it will be Oscar's turn. But if it goes a little bit longer, Oscar might have to find a new tool, and that's just the way it is, and that's okay. So that's the biggest juicy piece of that, is just being okay with that in-between moment of that frustration, those feelings that are coming up. They're all valid and they're all important to hear and important for us to validate as well. So that's where I'm going to leave this video. I hope you got something out of it and you know kind of what you can say instead of we have to share in our classroom, and why turn taking is a better solution maybe for your class space and helping to support problem solving skills and child autonomy for their own bodies and their own feelings about things. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below, or any thoughts that you thought about in this video, leave them in the comments below. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, subscribe to my channel because it helps me build this channel and help support other people and you in my community. So I'm so grateful for you all to be here, and thank you for watching, and I'll see you next week. Bye.